Hey, hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Relationship Stories. Today, one person is asking us, am I an idiot for yelling at my future wife for wearing my ex-wife's dress? But before we give our judgment, let's hear the story from his side. I am 36 and engaged to my girlfriend, 24, of 1 year. We have been engaged for 2 weeks now. I am a widower. I was married to my first wife for 11 years. From age 23 to 34. She died almost exactly 2 years ago from a car accident. I was in a really bad place after her death. We also have our 4 kids, currently aged 4 to 11, and I was overwhelmed trying to raise them as a single dad. My current fiancé used to be my eldest daughter's piano teacher. We started dating a year ago. I care for her deeply as she is a very loving and nurturing person who would make a great mother for my kids. The kids really like her as well and get along great. So leading up to the wedding, my fiancé is moving in with me. In the master bedroom, there is a walk-in closet which contains my wife's clothes and other personal items. She was a fashionable woman and owned a lot of nice things. I have not gotten around to cleaning it out and I never really wanted to do anyways. I told my fiancée she could store some of her own clothes in there if there was space. Yesterday, she was unpacking her things in the master bedroom and I walked in, finding her trying on a dress that belonged to my wife. Scattered around her were more clothes that belonged to my wife, like handbags and shoes. I asked my fiancée what she was doing and she just said, "Oh, I was just trying on some clothes, no harm in it." I told her to clean up the clothes immediately and in my anger I said, "You were stretching out the dress." Then my fiancé started crying. I immediately regretted my words. I mean, my wife was tall and a size 0, while my fiancé is not. Which is not an issue, but I knew how it sounded. I apologized, but my fiancé was obviously quite hurt. And nothing I said seemed to help. She said I was being an idiot and that I hurt her feelings by lashing out at her. That being said, I know I should have not implied that she was fat, but am I an idiot for being pissed at my fiancés for trying on my dead wife's clothes without my permission? My opinion about this issue is, OP, it's understandable that you would feel uncomfortable with your fiancé trying your late wife's clothes without your permission, as these items likely hold a lot of sentimental value for you. However, it's important to approach this situation with empathy and understanding towards your fiancé's perspective. It's possible that your fiancé did not realize how much these items mean to you and was simply trying to make the most of the closet space available to her. Additionally, she may have been curious about your late wife and trying to connect with her in some way. While it's important to establish boundaries in a relationship, it's also important to communicate them clearly and respectfully. In terms of the specific incident, it's understandable that your fiancé was hurt by your comment about the dress, as it could have been perceived as a criticism of her body. It's important to apologize for any hurtful words or actions and to work together with your fiancé to find a solution that works both for you. Overall, it's important to approach this situation with empathy and understanding towards your fiancé's perspective, while also being clear about your boundaries and expectations. Communication and mutual respect are key in any relationship, especially when dealing with sensitive topics such as loss and grief. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. You are an idiot for 2 reasons. Saying she could put her stuff in the closet if there's enough room is kind of an idiot thing to do. Your dead wife's clothes can't take precedence over an actual occupant of the room. If you want to keep the clothes, that's fine, but not at the expense of your current fiancé. There's also a decent way to say something to somebody, especially if you love them. I get being upset, but there's no excuse for saying what you said. You could have said, "Please don't wear that." By telling her she is stretching out the dress, you are intentionally trying to hurt her. Our friend too said, "You are an idiot for rushing into marriage with a young woman so you can get help raising your children. You have clearly not moved on enough from your wife's death to be in a relationship right now. let alone engaged and living with someone. Your children do not need a mother, no child does. You are their only parent left, which sucks and will certainly be hard. But bringing a 24-year-old young woman into the home and expecting her to parent for you is not going to help the situation at all. Story 2. Another person is asking us, am I an idiot for allowing my students to wear bikinis in front of strangers? But before we give our judgment, let's hear the story from his side. I am honestly nervous about how big this is going to get. I just got an email from the assistant superintendent of the entire district that I have to be in office Monday morning, and I am scared shitless. Basically, I just graduated college and got my teaching certificate last year. The school needed a track coach of the program would fold, so I volunteered even though district guidelines, not rules, specify that a certain number of years is required before taking a head coach position. But the principal waived this. We have some very talented girls and I enjoy it. We were scheduled to do a car wash fundraiser this morning. One Monday, one of the girls asked me if they could wear bikini tops and cut-off shorts. They argued it was their comfort since it's about 80 here today. I was a little nervous but agreed. Apparently, word got out on social media and we had a line of cars 30 minutes before we even started. I'm so naive. I thought initially people were just being charitable, but when I saw boys from surrounding schools, I knew something was up. And it was not long before older men started taking notice and we had a line where it was taking an hour to get a car washed. The girls themselves loved it and they all had fun. Nothing bad happened, thank God, and all are proud of themselves for how much we made. Parents are furious with me and obviously it's gone up the chain. I'm hoping to God I can chalk this up to my experience and I'm not fired, but when I heard 6.4 dad screaming in my face that he is going to get me fired, I'm scared. Am I the idiot for allowing this, guys? My opinion about this issue is, you are an idiot OP, but it's understandable that you are feeling nervous and scared about the situation you are in. However, it's important to remember that your actions may have an unintended consequences in this case. Allowing the girls to wear bikini tops and cut-off shorts may have been inappropriate and may have resulted in an unintended negative outcome. It is important to consider the values and guidelines of the school district and ensure that your actions align with them. As a teacher and coach, your primary responsibility is to provide a safe and positive environment for your students. While it's important to raise funds for your program, it's equally important to ensure that you're doing so in a responsible and appropriate manner. In this situation, it's possible that your actions may have inadvertently contributed to the objectification of a young woman. It's important to take responsibility for your actions and acknowledge any mistakes you have made. You may want to discuss this situation with superiors and express your regret for allowing the girls to wear revealing clothing. It's also important to listen to the concerns of the parents and address any issues they may have. Overall, it's important to learn from this experience and ensure that you are upholding the values and guidelines of the school district in the future. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Our friend once said, everyone is an idiot here. And by everyone, I mean you and whoever decided that a car wash from underage girls was a good idea for a fundraiser in the first place. Though you definitely exercised poor judgment by agreeing to the girls' request to wear cut-off shorts and bikinis. I feel like the pros would have been lining up even if they were in one pieces or something were modest. Just do a bake sale next time. Our friend too said, you are an idiot. Oh boy, sure you didn't mean to be an idiot, but you basically put underage girls on display in skimpy clothing. You had been staggeringly naive if you have never heard of the sexy car wash concept that you basically used high school girls to enact. If you don't get fired and if you are allowed to do this kind of thing again, consider tank tops instead of bikinis if you are really that worried about being overheated and not just hot. And yes, it can certainly be argued that we should not have to worry about sexualizing high school kids, except all the pros out there already got to do that first. And it could be argued that they are young women who should not have their bodies controlled by patriarchy, except we have certain social norms due to the perverts in this society. Story 3. So recently my girlfriend and I went to visit my grandmother and great grandmother down south for our spring break. We are both 19-year college students and we go to school in USA. They spoiled her throughout the week and she was so grateful and so was I. We were so happy that they took her so nicely. I had definitely been nervous about it. We stayed in my great grandmother's home for 7 days. It was a blast. Now that we are back at school and continuing the semester, my girlfriend keeps asking for my great grandmother's address. Both my grandmother and my grandmother were English teachers, and my girlfriend keeps saying she wants to write a letter to each of them to thank them for everything they did for her during our stay. Here's the thing, I get where she is coming from, I do, I just don't want to give her the address. She did not know it while we were staying there. I think it's kind of creepy and stalkerish thing to do. I told her I could give her their phone numbers to text them, but she said that she thought they would really appreciate a handwritten letter. And she said she had rather do that because it seems more personal. I told her I think it's creepy and I think they find it creepy too. And she got upset at me. She said that I blew it out of proportion and it's how people communicated earlier anyway. And she just thought it was a thoughtful thing to do. I'm not budging on this, don't worry, I'm not gonna let her force me into it. But she is upset at me and has not spoken to me properly since our fight. So I want to know who's the idiot here, guys. There's more to it. Though my grandmother was married to a really wild man and he was abusive towards her physically and verbally. She left him and they divorced. For years after the divorce, he continued to stalk her and send her threatening letters. She and I are very close and she confided in me that she still gets nervous opening letters from people she doesn't know. She had a restraining order against him, but it does not matter now because he is in a hospice care a few states away. I'm worried that if my girlfriend sends her and my great grandmother a letter, it will freak her out. Am I the idiot here, guys? My opinion about this issue is, OP, it's understandable that your girlfriend wants to express her gratitude to your great grandmother and grandmother through a handwritten letter. And it's also understandable that you are concerned about their privacy and safety, especially given your grandmother's history of receiving threatening letters. One potential solution to this dilemma is to discuss your concerns with your grandmother and great-grandmother directly and ask for their input on whether they would be comfortable receiving a letter from your girlfriend. If they are open to it, you could provide your girlfriend with their address and ask her to be respectful of their privacy and not to mention anything that could make them feel uncomfortable. On the other hand, if your grandmother expresses concern or discomfort about you receiving a letter, you could explain the situation to your girlfriend and ask her to find a different way to express her gratitude, such as sending a thoughtful gift or expressing her appreciation in person during a future visit. Ultimately, the most important thing is to prioritize your great-grandmother's and grandmother's comfort and safety, and to communicate openly and respectfully with your girlfriend about your concerns. Now, we will see what our friends think about this issue. You are an idiot. And possibly your parents too. Have you ever been taught that sending a thank you note is expected after receiving gift or staying with someone? Manners are a thing, you know, especially in South. Do you care about how your great grandmother and grandmother think about your girlfriend? Because they will probably think she is rude and if she doesn't send a note. I get that your grandmother might be apprehensive getting a letter from someone else she doesn't know, but your girlfriend can write OP's girlfriend next to her name if that would help. My god, it makes me think this is a hit post because why would anyone think that sending a nice note of thanks to people who showed you real hospitality and kindness is creepy? Oh wait, maybe an idiot with no manners. Our friend too said, "You are the idiot. My parents may be a little old-fashioned, but they have always insisted on handwritten thank yous. Anything else is considered ungrateful and in very poor taste. Inform your grandmothers that you have shared their addresses with your girlfriend since she has expressed a desire to send thank you notes. Then give your girlfriend the addresses and ask her to include her written information on the envelope and make it obvious so your grandmothers immediately see it's from her.